Hello again. I thought I'd do a foundational set of videos where I just basically go through the letters. Okay, just to start off with, this right to left, because Hebrew's right to left, that's a pictographic or Proto-Sinaitic script as it's sometimes called. It evolved into Paleo-Hebrew script. Then there's a midsection like with Dead Sea Scrolls type area, and it changed into this. Okay, which is, it's actually Aramaic, but Hebrew uses it as well. I'm not sure what they're called. There's different names for it: Chaldee, Assyrian, Aramaic, whatever. Now, as far as I understand, Orthodox Jews will not accept this pictographic script or the Paleo, especially this one. They just consider it bogus. Yeah, a lot of other people who are doing a lot of Hebrew research believe these over these, because this is newer. I accept them all. There's reasons I accept. There's loads of different reasons why I believe this. I've seen too much in this to completely discredit it, because there's differences in meanings slightly. They basically mean the same though. I have this belief also that through time, as letters evolved or devolved, certain meanings were hidden and then certain meanings were opened, and it happened every time. That's a personal thing. Again, I'm just sharing with you things that I've learned, no conclusions, in the hope it will help you, because it's helped me an awful lot. It's helped me grow closer to Elohim, it's helped me to walk straighter. So it's not just head knowledge, there's a good practical, spiritual, it's just good to learn, it helps. How do we start? Some of this might be teaching to suck eggs, but I don't know who's watching it, so it might not be. When you do a lot of research, when you start buying books and looking on the internet, you will find, same as anything scriptural, there's different opinions and viewpoints, and people argue all the time, and you have to make your own mind up what you're going to believe and trust. Each letter is a picture of something, and it has several meanings attached to it. Again, different sources will conflict. And when you're doing your own studies, you kind of start to see the common meanings when plugged in seem to work consistently. It's those ones that I trust mostly. So, just to start off with, take the first bit. It was something like that, a bull's head or an ox head, okay? Sometimes it would be like that. And I must apologise for the lighting, it's not very good. I've got a spotlight up there with one bulb working, there's supposed to be three. And I've got a desk lamp. This is the second time I'm recording this as well, because the desk lamp was more like here, and you couldn't see the screen when it looks on the computer, it's all glary, so I might seem slightly impatient because of that. Which might be better, because I'll stop gobbling and get on with it. So this evolved slightly into that, give or take. Proportions bend slightly, but same thing. Now, this alphabet here, when it went into the Greek, it basically flipped 180, right, and changed a little bit, and then that went down through Latin and Roman and to English. So some of our letters come from this. If you flip that, it's obviously where we got our A from. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Okay, now this as well I think is more accurate than that in one sense. If you look at a Paleo Hebrew Aleph, you have the horns, okay, you have like the body, face, if you like, nice little scribble, but you've got the horn, you've got the ears, you know. So in one sense I'd say it's more accurate than the original. Okay, this kind of evolved, it was basically the same thing, but the proportions got squashed. Turned into that. And it's also where we got our number one. Okay? Now this then sort of did this. Changed to that. Okay? This also then changed again. So I'll just draw the same thing and show you something. Again, when it comes to how the letters evolved and devolved, you're going to find different opinions on that as well, but you know, take it or leave it. Right? You got this, it's the same thing. Just rub this piece out. Okay, and it's almost like the modern Aleph, almost. You slide this piece down, excuse me, you've got basically modern Aleph. The only thing is, this was then prettied. So yes, modern Aleph is something like that. So this is kind of how it changed. Okay? Gonna rub it off now. Right, grammatically, the Aleph is number 1, and also 1000, right? So it's the smallest and the biggest number in the alphabet. It also means I, or I am. Okay? When it's prefixed to a word, you have a word here, you prefix it to the front of it. It's usually translated as I will, and the reason being Hebrew has two main tenses. You get perfect and imperfect. So if it's perfect, it's past, it's happened, it's done. If it's imperfect, it's either happening or will happen. So you usually see it translated as I will. So I am, I will, or maybe even I am doing, because that's still imperfect tense. I will, yeah. So they're your grammatical meanings. In terms of what the picture is and the common meanings you see, it's ox or bull. I looked it up, there is actually a difference between an ox and a bull, but it's very genetically similar. An ox head. All these, it's the first letter, and you know, it's the strong one. You know, it's like the authority, if you like. So you got the idea of first, strong, by extension, power. You know, I sometimes interpret it as fervency or fervent, because the strength and power at the end of the day. It's just another English word with the same basic meaning. Yeah. You know, it's a leader. There's all these sort of concepts, right? If you add them all together, you've got somebody who's a head, who's the first one, the strongest one, the powerfulest one, the one who leads, the one who has authority. Well, that's Elohim, right? Or Elohim, however you pronounce it. Okay? So we've got Elohim as well. Yeah. Who's also the great I am. Just thought I'd put that there. Now when I said that this script here, I see that has a lot of merit as well. I'll give you one example of some of the teachings you sometimes see. Okay. Okay, big modern Aleph, right? The sages, as I like to call them for some reason, say that basically you have a yod, and a vav, or wow. So you've got the 6th letter, so this is the 6th letter, this is the 10th letter. So you've got a hand on the bottom, a hand on the top, and then something in between linking them. Well, it looks like a Torah scroll, so obviously the same as a Torah scroll, that links us to Elohim, it does. But it's also a picture of the Messiah, because the 6th letter is a hook, a nail or a peg, a bridge, one who joins us. So it's basically the Messiah makes a bridge between us. That works for number 1, but you're not going to see that really in these older forms, you know. So that makes me think, well, there's something in this. Also, numerical values 10, 6, 10. Right? If you get the Tetragrammaton, 4 letters of the Father's name, you get a Yod, a Hey, a Wah, and a Hey. You add that up, it makes 26. You add this up, it makes 26. So there's a link there. Okay? There's lots of examples of this numerology stuff going on in Scripture, loads of examples. But that's one reason why I don't reject that. I've seen too many of these sort of things. I believe Elohim put his hand in the evolution or devolution to... It's a personal thing. I've seen too much. Is it? It's up to you what you believe. I'm just sharing with you my own insights, my own conclusions. Again, when you read sources, when you read books and look online, you're going to get different viewpoints that conflict. Okay? Bet, Beyt, Beyt, Beth, whatever. Second letter. Again, I'm not big on dialect and pronunciation. Okay, I'm big on meaning. I don't like to get into too much arguments on how things are pronounced. It doesn't matter too much to me. Tomato, tomato. You know, whether that's a bet or bait or bait or baith or vate, I don't care. Not really. It started off like this. Sometimes it was like that. Other times like this. Picture of a tent to a house. And then it evolved. That got basically flipped and just changed proportion slightly. So you kind of get this. Okay? Sometimes that'll be open slightly. Or it'll be more curly. I hope you can see that this and this and this, it's all the same thing really. Yeah. Then this evolved to that, and then the modern version. Our number 2 came from this, as a numerical value of 2. Yep. That's not 2. It's a mess. If you look at this one, you have a base plate, a back wall, a roof, and an open area. Very, very similar concept. When you do your research, Jeff Benner, he has the viewpoint, and I agree with it. But when you look at this, you have basically, he says it's a male area, and then you go inside, it's where the family or the female area lives. Eric Bissell, he has a ministry called Erictology. It's on YouTube. Go and have a look. He's got some brilliant material. I found him quite late in the studies, but he has some excellent material. He reckons that this piece is like the open expressive area, and the bit inside is the closed personal area. And I would agree with that too. Now, something that I've seen myself, it's one of my own insights you could say, if you take this one, okay, and extend it, yep, get a big fat snail, right? Because it's a picture of a house and a tent. That's a house, tent, dwelling. It grammatically means inside when it's prefixed to something. And you could also, it's possibly even like a bit like a galaxy, because a galaxy is like a gigantic house or kingdom or dwelling. And these are some of the meanings. I'll put the number 2 back there. Okay, grammatical meanings when it's prefixed. In, inside, at. You don't always see it as in. It's most common. Yeah, house. Tent. Excuse me. Dwelling. I believe it also means establishment and kingdom, because an establishment and a kingdom are just different sized buildings and different sized families and houses, really. Right. It also means body and container. Now, your own body, okay, if you're an atheist you're not going to believe it obviously, but we do. Your body is a container, right, for your ruach, or your spirit, the real you. This is just a vehicle. It's a vehicle. Right? So you've got the idea of body you contain. And if you look at a pot of jam, okay, well, the jar itself is the house for the jam. Okay, and that works. You can see that hopefully illustrates the concept. Now we get this curly version again. Right? That's no good. That's rubbish. That's better. Yeah. But take the curly one. Eric Bissell reckons that this is also a picture of a what do you call it? Like oh, not fetus, the other one. I forgot the word. You know the things I mean. Little things, it would be for little babies before they're formed properly. I forgot the word. that. I would agree with him. It looks like very much the same thing. You've got the idea with the snail thing going on. Right? Yeah, and also, again, if you look here, again you've got the expressive side, and then you've got the personal side. But like your body, we have the expressive side that's open, and then you have the personal side that's closed up in the head area. Actually in the head area. So it all fits together nicely. I know some people don't believe that Scripture has multiple interpretations, but I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to be able to accept that, because every letter, every word, and passages of Scripture, they have several meanings. I mean, I hope this even shows you it. When you plug these meanings into word studies and letter studies, very often it fits. And when I do my studies, I always try and make sure that what I come up with is always in accordance with what the lexicons and the dictionaries and the concordances say, because I know then I'm not going off on a tangent. Something you will notice when you buy books or look online, you're always going to come to the first two letters together, because they always like to give you a teaching on that for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably because the first letter and it's simple, but it is a good illustration. So I'll just throw it in there. You got yeah, doing Paleo Hebrew. I like Paleo Hebrew. Right, pronounce ab or av or abba maybe. Right, ab. And they say basically that's a father, right? Or it means tent pole. Now, at first glance, you're going to probably think, well, what's a tent pole and a father got in common? They're both the strength of the house, or the strength of the tent. They hold up the family. Right? So we've got the strength of the house, or the family, or the leader. Yeah, and you can go strength of the house, strength of the family, leader of the family, leader of the house, and they're all correct. Okay, so you go. This is a good example of how you can have several interpretations, all layered without a contradiction. They're all correct simultaneously. I also believe it means strong body, because that can be a body. Why would I say strong body? That's what a father should have. A father should have a good, strong body. One, so he can do loads of handyman jobs, and secondly, so he can bolsh people if he needs to. I'm not advocating violence, but sometimes, H. Israel, they're told, go and kick crap out of that city, basically. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. These studies, they're no good as just head knowledge. Right? I've learnt, if you look at some of my previous videos, I've tried to make them look sort of pretty, I guess. Some of the insights that I've learnt in these letters and come to believe, I've put into practice, and I've got close to the Father by doing it. Right? So I would really recommend you digging into Hebrew, because there's all those prophecies as well. I'll be stolen a pure language, and since learning into it, I'll get amazed by it. It gives me reason to praise Him. I find it amazing. I really do. Some of the things that I see, and again, put these into practice. It's been, I suppose you could say, a barakah or a blessing. It's been good to me. The whole studies. So I'm hoping with this little foundational series I'm doing, where I'm just going through one or two letters at a time till I get to the last one, will help to start you off, I guess. And like I said, you're going to come across different interpretations, a bit of arguing. Oh, I don't mean that, it means this, and same as everything else. So thanks for watching, and as usual, let's talk a bit if we can. Okay. On the next video, obviously be Gimel, or maybe Gimel Dalit, I don't know.